The Tzu Chi Foundation was founded on compassionate relief, but perhaps what really brought the public's attention to Tzu Chi's disaster relief effort was in the aftermath of the massive earthquake that struck central Taiwan in 1999. In today's Tzu Chi 50th anniversary series, we take a look back at Tzu Chi's post-disaster relief during the 9/21 earthquake through the eyes of then senior journalist Lin Ximing and Tzu Chi volunteer Lin Shen, who lived in Jiji, the epicenter of the earthquake.
The
electricity went out and the lights flickered. Then it began to rock.
It was very noisy. I ran to my mother-in-law's room, but I couldn't open her door.
At the time, no one knew how big and devastating the earthquake was.
My wife's from Nantou, so I asked her to call home to check, but the phone line went down.
I rode my scooter to survey the disaster. The screams and yells for help was unbearable. The streets were devastated.
One was an experienced journalist, the other a local Tzu Chi volunteer in Jiji. Heeding their call in life, both put aside their own anguish to do what needed to be done.
I arrived at about 2 in the morning, and there were a few fire trucks on scene already. Looking at the Dongxin apartment, only the top 4 levels of it was left. The bottom 8 collapsed underneath. There were rescuers helping in Dongxin. However, when I arrived at Puli, it was a different scene. In Puli, it was local residents trying to rescue one another.
As Lin Ximing documented the disaster, Tzu Chi volunteer Lin Shen rushed to find a way to contact the outside world. Thankfully, she found a working telephone line at the Jiji branch of the Taiwan Water Corporation.
I knelt down and reported to the master that the disaster was very severe. I pleaded for her to quickly send help. The master was very compassionate and choked back her tears. She said, if the victims need anything, let us know. We can't let them go hungry or thirsty.
As Master Zhenyan's call for assistance went out, material aid and manpower quickly arrived in Nantou.
At 8 a.m. that day, Brother Yang Mingda led a group of volunteers to Nantou, and our disaster relief began. When I saw the Tzu Chi flag flying high, I just about broke down. I wanted to kneel down to thank them for coming so fast, as now residents won't starve. I was really grateful for their assistance.
2 hours later, Tzu Chi volunteers from Tainan also arrived in Jiji.
Trucks filled with relief supplies kept arriving. Someone had asked for me and told me they were here to cook for the victims.
I remember I spent a week at a disaster zone, and each day lunch was provided by Tzu Chi. Whenever disaster victims were gathered, one could see Tzu Chi volunteers set up food sites to provide meals for them.
These photographs taken by Lin Ximing during the disaster were sent back to the newspaper under difficult conditions, as he had to find a way to develop them at ground zero. One of the pictures he took won him an award in the year 2000. However, he feels no joy from winning.
The young boy's father was crushed in their home. The house just fell flat, and as aftershocks continued to rock the area, the father's body continued to sustain damages. When they found the body, it wasn't whole. A group of soldiers gathered in what was once the living room to help find all the pieces and put them in a wash basin. When the soldiers presented the wash basin to the son, he broke down and cried. The son pressed his palms together in a prayer and cried out for his father for about an hour. Only after the comfort of a Tzu Chi sister did he finally stop sobbing.
Tzu Chi's disaster relief efforts made headlines, with Master Zhenyan's plea for everyone to help the disaster victims seen in many newspapers. While Tzu Chi made headlines, other news articles called the volunteers living bodhisattvas and were amazed at how Tzu Chi could mobilize so quickly to set up a rescue team at 3 in the morning or begin to prepare for hot meal distributions at 4.
Actually, this is what we do normally. So of course, when a disaster strikes, our strength is greater. But what looks like a massive mobilization to the outside world is just something we are used to doing.
The Tzu Chi Foundation might be the only civil organization in Taiwan that has the ability to call on so many people in such a short amount of time from so many different places.
It's been 17 years since the big earthquake. However, Tzu Chi volunteer Lin Shen's loving care remains, and Lin Ximing has since retired and turned to teaching journalism. In the aftermath of the 91 earthquake, though the Chu witnessed some of the worst suffering in the world, they also witnessed the most compassionate strength in the world.